Hi guys, Valkov here, and in this video I'd like to talk about the 3 levels of the creative process. This concept is about the 3 forms of the creative process: the imitation, the interpretation, and the innovation. Let's start with the imitation first. This is the most basic of the 3. Even young children start from there by mimicking their parents' behavior. In the field of the 3D rendering and in the archivist, this means to find a reference photo and to redo it with the 3D software. It may seem an easy to do task or even a stupid one, but it is very productive for the learning curve of the artist. You can get basic knowledge and you can develop your skills and your tools. Let's talk for the interpretation next. It is pretty similar to the imitation, but the difference is that you are not using the visual reference to mimic it 100%. Instead, you are going to get inspired by it. You can also get inspired by music, or by random thoughts in your mind, or by an abstract painting, for example. The important point here is the inspiration and where does it come from. Another important point is having a decent background, and by that I mean knowing other artists and their works, having broad amount of knowledge for anything related to your art, and having knowledge in the fields outside of your art, and the ability to combine all of this stuff together and come up with a nice result as your final art piece. The third important point here goes like this. Let's not get confused by the lack of abilities in the first creative field, the imitation, and consider it interpretation. Let me give you an example. You have an artist working on a project in the imitation and doing an image. He got the reference, he's doing his work, but with the final image he can say, well, I cannot really make the sky the same like in the reference photo, and I'm not happy with the shadows, but I consider it interpretation and I'm done with it. Well, this is not true. This is not a real interpretation. This is just a lack of abilities. And finally, about the innovation. Is this a real thing? Really? To me, pure innovation doesn't really exist. Simple as that. Any innovation you see out there is a form of different thoughts, different knowledge, different background combined in the head of the innovator to come up with the innovation itself. But is this a real innovation? An example of pure innovation could be artificial intelligence working on its own to deliver a final product without any external sources of information and without any external knowledge, anything related to the creative process. I'm curious how the final result would look like. Do you have any thoughts?